Hello, my dear children. How are you all? I hope you all are doing very well. So, today we are going to start this session with a new chapter, and the name of this chapter is Yudhishthira and the Dog. I hope you all heard stories of Ramayana and Mahabharata at your own home. So, this story is taken from Mahabharata. Okay? So, come with me and start the chapter. The war of Mahabharata was over. The Pandavas had defeated their cousins, the Kaurav, and had won the war. Now, my dear children, you all know the Mahabharata war was fought between the brothers Pandav and Kaurav. Okay, so when Mahabharata war was over, okay, and Kauravas were defeated by the hand of Pandav. Okay, Pandavas are five brothers. So Yudhishthir, the eldest son of the five brothers, had been crowned the king of Hastinapur, but the Pandavas were not happy because many of their relatives had lost their lives in the war. So, when the battle of Mahabharat, which was fought for 18 continuous days, when finally the Mahabharat war was over, Yudhishthir, who was the eldest among all these five brothers, crowned as the king of Hastinapur. Okay, but all these Pandavas, along with their wife Draupadi, were not very happy. And why they are not happy? And why they are not happy? As they won the war, because in this war they lost their relatives. Okay, as I told you, this war is fought between brothers. Okay, so Pandavas were not very happy because they lost their relatives, they lost their own brother. After some time, they decided to leave Hastinapur forever and go on a pilgrimage. So, when Yudhishthir was crowned as the king of Hastinapur, and although all these Pandava brothers and Draupadi was not very happy, after some time they decided that we are going to quit Hastinapur. Okay, we are going to leave Hastinapur forever, and we will go and visit pilgrimage. Now, what is the meaning of pilgrimage, my dear students? The meaning of pilgrimage is a holy place. Okay, the holy place where a particular particular religious people come and get a blessing from their respective god. Okay, so one day at the crack of dawn, the five Pandav brothers and their wife Draupadi left the palace. Now, what is the meaning of crack of dawn? The meaning of crack of dawn is early morning. Okay, means early morning when sun was not rise. Okay, so one day at early morning, all those five Pandav brothers along with their wife Draupadi leave Hastinapur. Dressed as sadhus and walking barefoot, they set forth on a pilgrimage to different holy places. Okay, so when they decided we are going to leave Hastinapur, so they also discarded their royal clothes. So after discarding their royal clothes, all five Pandava brothers and Draupadi wore the costume of sadhu, wear the dress of sadhu, and they started walking bare feet. Bare feet means what? They didn't wear any kind of footwear. Okay. Finally, they reached the Himalayas, and after taking the getup of sadhu and walking bare feet, they started their pilgrimage journey. And at the end of the day, they reached Himalayas. The glorious mountain ranges stood covered in snow. The Pandavas began to climb. Okay, now Himalayas are snow-covered mountain. Okay, so the Himalayas stood glorious as covered with snow. And now this all five Pandav brothers started climbing those Himalayas. Here you can see, my dear students, in the picture, they are climbing the snowy mountain. The mountains were steep and the snow made the path slippery. Now, what is the meaning of steep? The meaning of steep, the mountains are straight. Okay, so the mountains are straight. That's why they are slippery in nature. Okay, but the Pandavas and the Draupadi kept on walking bravely. Okay, but Pandav and Draupadi kept on walking. Somewhere on the way, they were joined by a dog. And while covering their pilgrimage journey, when they are climbing those steepy mountains, they were joined by a dog. It followed them as they climbed up the steep slope, and the dog was continuously, here you can see this dog is continuously following them. It walked through snow and over rivers of ice, resting and climbing as they did. Now, this dog is following them all the time. Okay, when those brothers and Draupadi climbed cross rivers, the dog also crossed the rivers. Okay, similarly, he crossed all the path along with those brothers and Draupadi. The Pandavas and especially Yudhishthir grew very fond of dog. Now, this whole five Pandav brothers and Draupadi fond of that dog. They love that dog, especially Yudhishthir. Okay, Yudhishthir loved this dog very much. But all this time, the Pandavas were getting weaker. But my dear students, these Pandav brothers and Draupadi continuously crossing the snowy mountains, rivers. That's why they are becoming weak day by day. They are losing their energy. They had less and less strength to climb the steep path. As they are continuously losing their energy, that's why they are becoming weaker and weaker on daily basis. One day, Draupadi felt so weak that she just fell down and died. Now, here you can see one day Draupadi become very weak. Okay, so she fell down and immediately she died. Here you can see she is Draupadi. She fell down and she immediately died on the spot. Over the next few days, Nakul, Sahdev, Arjun, and Bhim also died. After the death of Draupadi, once few days spent, one by one, those Pandav brothers started dying. First Nakul, then Sahdev, then Arjun, and at the end of the day, and at last, Bhim also died. Only Yudhishthir was left. Okay, so among all the six-person, five persons are dead. Only Yudhishthir is remaining. He and his faithful dog kept climbing up and up. Yudhishthir and his faithful dog kept climbing their path. At last, when Yudhishthir had climbed a great height, Indra, the king of gods, appeared before him. When Yudhishthir climbed the great height of Himalayas, in front of him, Indra, who is Indra? The god of rain, appeared in front of them. Indra was mounted on his chariot, which shone like the sun. Now, Indra was riding. Okay, now Indra mounted means sitting. Okay, Indra was sitting on his chariot. Okay, and sorry, his chariot is shining like a sun. Yudhishthir, said Indra, your brothers and Draupadi have already reached heaven. Climb onto my chariot. I have come to take you so that you may join them. Immediately, Indra said, Yudhishthir, my boy, just come here, okay, and sit on my chariot because your brothers and Draupadi already reached heaven. But when Yudhishthir was getting on the chariot, the dog too followed him. As you know, my dear children, the dog was constantly following Yudhishthir. That's why when Yudhishthir was climbing on that chariot, the dog also followed him. No, no, said Indra. There is no place for dogs in heaven. Immediately, Indra started shouting, no, no, there is no place for dogs in heaven. Then there is no place for me either, said Yudhishthir. Immediately Yudhishthir answered, no problem, my lord. If there is no place for dog in the heaven, then there is also no place for me in heaven. He refused to sit in the chariot as it meant leaving his faithful companion behind. Now, Yudhishthir refused that I'm not going to sit in this chariot. Okay, and why he refused? Because his loyal companion, this dog, was not allowed. Okay, he looked at the dog. In its place stood Dharma, the god of right action. Okay, and after saying these things, when Yudhishthir looked at his loyal companion, but in place of a dog, there stood another god, and the god of right actions means god Dharma was standing in place of dog. He had came in the form of a dog to test Yudhishthir's loyalty and was very pleased at what he saw. Now, why Lord Dharma? Now, Why Lord Dharma took the shape of dog? Because he wanted to test Yudhishthir, how much loyal Yudhishthir is. At last, Yudhishthir got into Indra's chariot and reached heaven. And when the dog is converted into another god, Dharma, Yudhishthir sat on the chariot of Lord Indra and Yudhishthir reached heaven. Okay, so this is all in this chapter. Here again you can see there are few new words. Let's have a look here. Pilgrimage, I already told you, a journey of holy places. Sadhu, sadhu means, what is the meaning of sadhu? Sant, a holy person. Here you can see, yes, sadhu. Glorious, glorious means very beauty. Okay, very beautiful, having a great beauty. Now steep, what is the meaning of a steep? I already told you, steep means very sharp edges. Okay, mounted, seated on a horse or carriage. Lord Indra was mounted on his chariot means sitting on a horse. Okay. Loyalty. Loyalty means the quality of being true and faithful. How truthful and how faithful you are. Okay. So this is called as loyalty. So my dear children, I hope you all enjoyed this chapter very much. Okay. So from this chapter, we get the lesson of loyalty, how loyal you can become. Okay. See, in this chapter, Yudhishthir leave heaven for this innocent creature talk. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this chapter a lot. For today's session, for this is all for today's session. I will meet with you all in our next session. Till then, take very good care of yourself. Bye.